Hi guys, it's Kelly here and I'm back with another video. Today's video is featuring part of the new release from Trinity Stamps. This is actually part of their video hop. I am using the Witchcraft stamps and dies. This is a little bit different than any scene stamp I've seen before, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. So to start, we are going to stamp this twice. One is going to be my background and one is going to be the one that I die cut. As I mentioned, this is part of a video hop, so in the description below, there's a link to a video before mine and to after, and then they're also doing a $50 giveaway. In addition to that, there is an Instagram hop where you can win an additional $50 gift card. So if you are an Instagrammer, head over to that as well to hop along. This release had lots of really good stuff. I had a really hard time making a choice, but ultimately it was the sentiment that got me. The sentiment, because this is true of every card that I have ever made. So it says, with paper and glue while drinking a caffeinated brew, I made this wicked cute card for you. And I was like, yes, absolutely. Every day of my life. So yeah, let's talk about the card. Here, these are new to me, and I have to tell you, more use will be needed for me to make a more impassioned statement by really liking these, really liking these. You could see at the top, it's a little bit splotchy. That is intentional because I was trying to make a stone wall, but you'll see at the bottom when I do the, what is this, brushed corduroy, that it's a lot smoother. But anywho, they are Trinity's blending brushes, but you hold them like they're kind of like squatty. And then they have all these like cute little colored rings so you know what color each one is. And they come with caps. Yeah, super loving these so far. Like I said, more use will be required. But so far, I'm a fan. I'm playing with them. Can you hear it? Anywho, so how is this scene different? And how does that tie into the title of the video? So the title of the video, you know, the die cut elements, like you love them or hate them kind of thing. And I have been a 1-layer card scene maker for pretty much the entirety of my card making career. And I still love a 1-layer scene. I especially love stamps like this that have already put the scene together for me. Here, I'm doing the background, doing the wood floor. I showed you the first color in just regular, I mean, it's all sped up. But this one is super sped up because I'm just doing the same thing over and over again. If you're interested in wood floors, I have whole other videos on how I do wood grain. And it's going to be the same thing for the stone wall. I'll show you a little bit in regular, and then I'm going to speed it up. So stamps like this that have everything kind of put together for me. And so when I'm not feeling like I want to put a scene together, like I want to do all the stamping and masking, or when I don't have time to, or maybe I'm just super stressed out and I just want to sit down and color, these are excellent for just stamping and coloring, and I totally love that. What is different about this one is the coordinating die. So usually for a scene like this, you wouldn't necessarily have a coordinating die, or you would have a coordinating die of maybe just one element, which is like her sitting at her little craft table making this adorable little ghost. I mean, it's so cute, guys. Maybe you would just have that die and maybe like, you know, a sentiment. This cuts out parts of the scene, y'all. So obviously there is that large die. It cuts out her, the table, and the broom. But then there's a die to cut out the little I love witchcrafting, not only just the inside, but the outside frame. There is a die to cut out the window. There are dies to cut out individual stones in the background so you can layer them up and kind of like get this really cool dimension. In addition to that, there's all of these other elements. Right now we haven't used any of them, but we will. We're going to use the coffee mug, the glue, and then some of the markers, because obviously, I mean, I use markers in almost every card. But so you can stamp those other things. There's like a piece of cardstock, a little candle, there's a cat. There's like a little stamp, there's a pumpkin. There's all kinds of cute stuff that you can kind of make this your own. That's why the table is so open. But I just thought that was the coolest thing, because now you have a choice whether or not you want to use these die cut elements in your scene or you just want to stamp it flat and color it. Brilliant. I totally love it. Let's talk about what we're doing for the stone. So for the stone, I'm going out and kind of, coloring and adding shadows to the larger stones, but then I'm using some stippling in the background to create kind of like this rocky texture. And then this is the second one that we stamped. And I'm going to do the coloring of the die elements that I'm going to cut out. I'm going to color these on here. I chose not to do any of the stones this time around. I did the little frame picture, the window, all of the little elements on the table, and then obviously the large one. I die cut all of those out in just to like build up my scene. The reason I chose this is so funny. This is like, I'm going to share this with you because it's embarrassing, but it's funny. Embarrassing things are usually funny in hindsight. You know what I'm saying? So I recently started, I have done guest work for Trinity stamps for like back from when they first started. And I finally was able to meet Tanisa, who is the owner, in person at Create this past March. We had never met face to face. But it was lovely to meet her, and she was totally crazed because, any kind of trade show is just crazy. And like in the 5 seconds that I actually got to chat with her, she was like, "Will you guest design for our birthday hop?" And I was like, "Of course, just send me whatever." Like, she has my address. And so I sometimes have companies that I work for that, are consistently sending me product, but then I have companies that sometimes just want me to guest design, or sometimes I have companies that I've guest designed for in the past, and maybe they're coming out with a new product that they think I would really enjoy or that I would really showcase well, and they will send it to me. So I am getting like packages fairly consistently. Plus, I'm also a crafter, so that means I have to buy things. My husband knows this. Side note, back to the card. So I chose to do my table white for 2 reasons. First of all, I love a white work surface. Okay? I love white in my cards. I love a white work surface. That's why my glass mat is white. I like white. So that's number 1, because it was the most realistic. Number 2 is because I was trying to break up the scene from all of that brown from the wood. So this is, you also could do it another neutral. You could do it gray. You could do it black. But this is just another way that you can kind of break up that scene and help it so that it's not so heavy with like those background colors, since our background colors are neutrals, and just kind of breathe a little bit of life into it. Then I colored her up, added her a little pink cheek, and then we are going to move on to coloring her outfit. I chose pretty traditional colors for her outfit, for Halloween, some purples, some greens. I brought in some yellows as well. And then I just continued those same colors into like the bottles and the accessories. Cause I didn't want to muddy up the scene by having a like overarching color palette. So anyway, so Tanisa had sent me this release so that I could participate. But then she had sent me some other stuff like the little blenders and, things like that. And so I'm last minute. Y'all work better under pressure. That's just how I roll. And so today I went into the box to get the release so that I could do my video. Now, obviously it's my today. It's not the today the video is being released. That's tomorrow morning. Talk about the 11th hour. But anyway, so I went in there to go get the product, and it's not in there. It's not in there. And I'm like, wait a minute. So I'm looking at these photos of the release, and I'm like, none of these products are in here. There's some other products for fall, but I am not seeing anything that is in this new release envelope. I check, I triple check, I quadruple check. It's not in there. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, did she forget to throw it in the box? Like, what happened? So I sent her an email. And I'm like, hey girl, sorry to bother you, but like, I don't have this release. Like, I quadruple checked the box. I don't have it. And I want to participate in the video hop, but like, girl, I ain't got it. I'm like, is there another box? Like, did you send a different box? And should I be checking my mailbox? Like, or is there a different drop box I should be looking at? And she sends me back the email probably like an hour later. I was in the middle of making dinner at this point. And she was like, check the sketchbook box. Now, in the box, there was a sketchbook box. Why didn't I check the sketchbook box? Because it was sealed. So I didn't think about anything being in there because it was taped. But so after dinner, I told Eric, I was like, I got to go upstairs and check something. And so I did. I came up here, I cut open the tape, and sure enough, the entire, like everything that she had sent me from this release was in the box. So then I had to send her an email like, well, this is embarrassing. I probably should have checked there. So needless to say, I was doing my video like after my workday was over, because when I was looking for it during my workday, I couldn't find it. And I still wanted to participate because how cute is she? I mean, honestly. So after we got done with dinner and everything, I was like, are you good with this baby? Like, can I sneak back upstairs for a little bit? And so my husband very graciously took over childcare, did bath time and all that stuff so I could work on it, which was awesome of him. And then after we got Peanut in bed, I came in, finished it up, and then he was like, we sat on the couch and we chatted just a little bit and had some snacks, because, as when you're parents of young children, it's the only time that you really get to see each other with uninterrupted conversation is when they're sleeping. And so, so we did that, and then he went to bed, and I came back upstairs to finish doing what I was doing, take my photos, and then edit my video. So now, because everything's completely backed up, at this point, when I'm doing this voiceover for this video that's going up tomorrow morning, it's 2:30 in the morning. My mother right now is cringing at the fact that I didn't get any rest, because my mom watches all my videos. Hi, Mom. I promise you I will sleep in. No, I won't. I have to take baby in the morning to daycare, but maybe I'll catch a nap. Maybe. Because I also have to work tomorrow night. Like, this is my real full-time job now, but then I still dispatch part-time at the police station. So I have training tomorrow for 4 hours. So will I get a nap? Who knows? That's just life sometimes. So all right, now all the coloring is done thus far, and I am going to go in and die cut out my elements. That is one of the reasons why I didn't have to do any masking or anything for the background, because I knew I was going to be die cutting out my elements. That is probably the biggest draw of incorporating die cut elements into my in my scene cards, because then it eliminates the need to do any fussy cutting and masking. Now, fussy cutting doesn't really bother me. I've been doing it for years, but I know that it does bother some people, so this may be a way. These types of little scenes here may be a great way for you to have a workaround so you don't have to do any masking. Now, with the die cutting, you still do have the white outline. Even though, I mean, these are pretty tight, but you do still have the outline. Now, if you watch my videos regularly, you know that I color in that outline because I know likey. So here is where we're bringing in those other elements to decorate the table. This cute little coffee mug, which looks kind of like a little cauldron. Adorable. And of course, my coffee is super light because it is basically creamer with sugar in it and like a splash of coffee. Don't judge me. It makes me happy. And then the glue, and then there's like two little, it looks like little alcohol markers. And so that's very fitting for me. Even though I will be honest with you, like the little character, first of all, she has on, I'm going to say it's a robe, okay? I'm going to say it's a robe. My robe is blue. Her robe is green, but we're clearly robe sisters. I love a good robe. But I have never, and not that I judge, I don't, but I've never dyed my hair an unnatural color. Like I colored her hair purple because it's fun. And in high school, my best friend had all different kinds of hair color. She was pink, she was blue, she was green, she was this weird turquoise color when she couldn't get the blue out of it. She was purple. So like no judgment. I always had a job because I worked in a public industry that I couldn't have any quote unquote strange colors in my hair, unnatural colors in my hair. But I never had any desire for it. So it's not like I was missing out on anything. I also worked for one department that you weren't allowed to have you weren't allowed to have colored nail polish. You had to wear like nude or all neutrals. Nail polish. That was a stretch for me. That was very challenging. I didn't work there very long. Thank the Lord, I got another job offer, and I was able to not have to stay there. And you could only wear like one ring and one watch, and they were very, very strict about their dress code. But it, it was what it was. That's the industry that I chose to work in. Now I'm this happy witch here. I'm in my robe. I'm in my jams most days. My hair is typically in a top knot. And we've talked about this recently, where I'm having my website redone, and we're getting to the end of it now, guys. And we really are. It's getting exciting. Here is where I'm going to go in and color in all of those edges just to blend in the die cuts back into my scene. I didn't really have to do a ton of work here because it's such like a monochromatic background. I was able to just pick one gray and one brown and roll with it. But anyway, so I'm having my website redone, and I'm very, very excited for that. It's got a lot of different things. But one of the things that she, asked me for was like, do you have, it's so comical. It's like an oxymoron because you're talking about crafting. She's like, do you have any action shots? And I'm like, action shots? She was like, yeah, of you working. Do you have any action shots of you working? And I'm like, I craft by myself in my robe in my own house. First of all, there's no action happening here. Second of all, who would be taking those photos? Like who? I was like, no, I don't. I don't have any action shots. And also, I can't get any. I can't get any action shots for you, because then I would have to clean off my desk. So here what I did was I just laid this down on my card panel. I colored it in with the blue. The first blue was a little bit too bright. It was more like a daytime scene. So then I went in and colored it a little bit darker. This still didn't sit with me well, like 100%. We're going to come back to it again. But I went in with my white gel pen. I drew in like some little stars in the sky. I also added some highlights to, yeah, a lot of things, really, honestly. I added them to her hat, to the bottles, to the scissors, to the rocks on the wall. I did a little polka dot on the mug because I thought that would be adorable. But yeah, so don't ever underestimate the white gel pen. It can really like bring your scenes to life. So at this point, I'm moving on to my sentiment. Fun thing about this sentiment, okay, it's one stamp. So you can stamp it all together. Or if you choose to use the dies, you can cut them out individually, which I really like, because then you can split them up to like a part of it goes on the front and part of it goes on the inside. So you could like do the front with I did them all on the front, but you could do the front with paper and glue while drinking a caffeinated brew. And then on the inside, I made this wicked cute card for you. I just think it's a fun kind of different way to be able to use the sentiments. Really, really like that. So here I'm putting on the first die, and then you'll see that there's 2 other dies, and I'm just going to run these through my Spellbinders Platinum 6 to have them all done. Now, I left this part in because I tried a white frame because I felt like the scene needed to, I like things framed in. I felt like it needed to be framed in, but I didn't like that particular frame. Here's also where I'm putting the purple over the blue. So what I decided to do was I didn't have readily available any square dies that I wouldn't have to dig for because I don't use them very often. So I'm just going to use my paper trimmer to cut out a frame. And I put the square up more towards the top. So there's an inch on the bottom. It almost looks like a Polaroid. There's an inch on the bottom, and then there's a 1/4 of an inch around all of the edges. A lot of people really like guillotine trimmers. This is one of the reasons why I love my Fiskars paper trimmer, because it allows me to do things like this and cut out the inside, well, it's not really square, more of a rectangle, to create my own frames, which I totally appreciate. I could not do that with a guillotine trimmer. Here, there's a cute little spider web in the corner, but because I cut my frame to the size I did, I have to kind of extend that spider web out so it's truly in the corner. And then I covered it in glitter, because while I don't like spiders in real life, I do love a glittery spider web on my cards. I also colored everything else in glitter. And then I'm going to go in with my white gel pen and just add some highlights kind of on top of those black lines. I'm not completely covering them. I'm not putting down a ton of pressure. I'm letting my pen skip wherever it would like. It's just to kind of highlight that area. And then I will glue this down on top of my scene flat. And then the sentiment will go on the bottom of my little Polaroid, just kind of stacked up. So yeah, so I have no action shots. That's the long and short of that particular story. Could I set up a camera to take some photos? Probably, but then I would have to get out of my robe and maybe put some makeup on, possibly take my hair down. That just seems like a lot of effort. So I think we're just going to go without it. But yeah, so that putting on the sentiment is the last piece. That is it. That's the whole card. I hope you learned a little something. I hope that you will check out Trinity Stamps and their new release. It's really great. Lots of stuff for teachers too. And then of course, click below on the video hop to continue hopping along. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I always appreciate your time, and I will catch you on the next video. Bye.